I gathered 10,000 food.
Such a
thing, but when you look at this map, it's about as fair as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have just choose another
Basic.
map. It's their fault.
I have no clue why they picked it.
They had to choose Vinland Saga, they knew it.
Alright, so hello guys, that's Blackadder right now
Hello.
speaking. And I have how many players in here? I am having Titou, Count, TheMista, and Andre
Player.
Pereira is right now. That's going to be player, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we have all the guys from the winning team actually present. So congratulations on your win. And well, how was it actually difficult to win in the finals? Because the games were quite interesting. The second one, the Black Sea, was quite unusual, and actually all of them were unusual. So what were the best moments for you? For example, let's start with Count. If you are
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, just basically what you thought about the finals. What was some kind of most interesting moment that you can actually think of that was game-changing or some such?
The most surprising moment of the entire series was the very first game, where the dot guys decided towards TheMista. That was a huge surprise for me. If they just went for the runners player, for Titou, the game could have been totally different, because the force fire with Gaia Force combination, also combined with the undermine, is precisely enough to kill the Uranus TC. However, yeah, the Zeus TC has more HP, so that's not gonna work. So when I saw that strategy, I was like, what the fuck? It's a good strategy, but why the hell are you trying this on Zeus? So that was pretty much the most surprising. Yeah, that was the most surprising part of the series for me. And another highlight was, I think, the last game where we kind of predicted they would go for the Promethean starts. So we already made some Prometheans on our main islands, so we can instantly counter that start, and that gave us a huge advantage. So.
Yeah, the first map, exactly, we were talking about it this 7-up as well, that they basically for some reason chose the wrong side, or rather the wrong god to attack. That it was kind of apparent that it would be better on the Oranos. But it almost worked for them at any rate, so it was a pretty nice attempt. But did you actually think that it would be just waiting for the inevitable once you were able to stop that attack? Or were you thinking that there might be some kind of back strategy from them? Backup strategy? For example, I don't know, TheMista hasn't said anything yet, so what was your...
Yeah, that's a question for you,
What were your thoughts? You were the main person of that game.
Basically what Magic said. As soon as we saw the tools outside of my base, we were laughing out loud. What the fuck are they trying to do? We thought that they were trolling us, but as soon as they actually built the temples and they tried to kill my TC, we knew that we would win the game, because there's no coming back after that. There's literally no coming back.
Well, it definitely did work out quite well, especially player was applying pressure on Shelty on the right side in some pretty decent manner. That was really nice, his raiding and such, of course helped by the rest of you players, so that was quite fast decided game, let's say. But still, there was a lot of fight to be had or rather after that. And in the second game, the Black Sea, that seemed quite dire for you guys from spot the odd one out, because the water wasn't really going for you at all. So what was actually the plan for you in there? Who was maybe the author of the strategy? Should be talking, not really sure.
Well, what was happening in that game was like, I was winning the water against Magic, and I was confident that we would win the water, and then suddenly Earth says, I lost water. And then player is like, let's stop making water. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking, guys? I'm like full committing on water. And there was a point where I was like fighting, I guess, almost 3v1. But we didn't lose the water. And I think them overextending on water while we had our eco untouched gave us the lead in land. Because they invested so much on water, but they didn't actually achieve anything. And even though I committed so much on water, my eco behind it was really, really good because player gave me the back pond. So I had really good food income since I got the fish upgrade really early.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing that I want to ask player when he gets back in a moment. As he went quite interestingly, before he even went any 3RMS, he went for a Purse as basically the first thing in his dock in classical Age. So was there some kind of prepare strategy, or did you actually do not know that he's gonna do that?
We didn't expect them to go full on water. That's why I went for a 5 minute plus age up, and player was going for a fast age up, but because they were a bit late, he took the fish upgrade. Because it's better to get it as soon as you age up if you think that your opponent won't put pressure on water. But they did, and that kind of surprised us, to be honest.
Yeah, that definitely worked quite well. And then when you advance faster into a heroic age, you just basically were able to hold two players at once, which allowed Earth not to basically continue water at all and prepare for the attack. And it seemed quite well coordinated from you, basically the shifting sense from him on the right and quite close by to that the underworld passage on the left. So that seemed like a pretty great plan, and it really worked in the end. Did you actually expect that it might be going slightly better? It seemed like that Earth was having pretty big problems on the right side.
I didn't think that he would lose the water so fast, but as soon as we saw that they were committing on water while they were not winning water, we realized that I can hold for a couple of minutes while player and Earth were preparing for the land push. And we did the land push because we had really good mythic timings. And as soon as I used the full pop army to help player steamroll Aya, and then I switched back to water with full upgraded ships. So we've suddenly won. We took a stronghold on land, basically annihilating Aya, and then I went back winning the sea. While we were also harassing, Earth was also really harassing really hard on his side on land.
Yeah, just now seen Magic actually saying that you weren't winning water against him.
Oh, I'm reading the chat. It's hilarious.
So there might be a bit more of a talk between you two about that. Unfortunately, we don't really have him on yet. Not exactly sure if he has even microphone. I think that was the problem last time around. But at any rate, the Underworld Passage seemed to be like a super strong push from both you and player. You were just basically killing Ayak in like one swing. That was super fast on the left. So that really seemed like the deal. But in the end, they were able to come back quite strongly, and probably the most deciding play seemed to be actually Earth stopping the trade at the top. So that was interestingly played by him. And probably a backup plan, I would be thinking. Because he was probably hoping that he would be capturing the front TC, right? For example, Count, or did you actually not play in this game? Right now, not sure. I don't really remember.
No, I didn't. I didn't play the second game, but what was pretty curious that was Fox was far ahead in the start. He had like 1,000 points more than Earth did. So I was actually expecting him to kill Earth pretty fast, but the opposite happened actually. Earth, yeah. He killed the trade in the back, which was pretty good, and he held on at his own island as well. So I didn't really expect that to happen because Fox was ahead in the early.
Well, the reason why actually Earth didn't have any kind of good water against Fox was because Fox was going for faster docks on this side of the map, which basically meant that he stole fishies from Earth, and he was having like a third more fishing boat. So that was the reason why he was having such a better economy early on.
Yeah, but apparently he couldn't make good use of it.
Yeah, that's probably true, but apparently it gave him enough of a boost in there. So yeah, pretty good job on that. And we are right now, for example, moving into the last game, into Vinland Saga, which is a bit of a debate going on about it, but the spawn, quite honestly, seemed quite okay. Because on Vinland Saga, part of the magic is basically landing correctly, as exactly Titou did. He was trying to secure the part of the map, he landed a bit more into the opponent's side, and that maybe made the opponents the scraps thing that the map is not really all that great for them, but They definitely could have prevented it. So what do you think about the last game?
Well, I think the map was slightly favorable for us, but it's not because of the town centers, but it's because Magic was at the middle. You actually want your Egyptian guy to have free fish, so you can get a heroic faster and just make more villagers. And you want your Uranus guy on the side, so if you go for the Promethean attack with the boat, the Promethean doesn't have to travel that much, so your attack will be faster. So that's why I think the map was slightly favorable for us, but the town centers were pretty much even in my opinion. And overall in that game we just played better. Seriously, Shelty lost some villagers in the early. TheMista did some great watch at micro, killing some villagers at the side islands. And yeah, our economies were just way better than theirs. So that's pretty much the point in my opinion.
We
Actually,
basically
yeah,
expected what they were doing. Like we discussed like minutes before the game what they would do. Like we knew that they would try the Promethean thing, and I was thinking of going Ra and shifting sand and then cast rain in order to prevent magic from coming to the island. But then I saw magic going Ra, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go set, I'm gonna age up faster, and I'm gonna shifting sand before you rain. So I expected magic to use rain in order to prevent me to go to the inland.
Yeah, that was quite lucky for you because you literally cast the Shifting Sands at the same second. So that was really interesting that you got a lucky break, because if you were able to shift in sands into the mainland, that would be maybe even game over, because you would be pretty much slowed down in there. So
I knew I would do it on time because I saw when magic aged because of the score drop. So I knew I had enough time to actually do it.
And also, Shelty and Fox were both making only Termas, and I was making Mermillos as well. So they wouldn't be able to stop the TheMista from getting up a second town center.
Yeah, not considering the fact that at one point I had like 50 villagers on food, 50 workers on food plus the fishing ships.
yeah,
Like I was 80% mythic when the game finished.
It was really looking like that Titou wasn't having all that great start in that game, as apparently he was quite late to actually get him his military buildings. Was there some kind of extra reason for that, like bad fishes? I can't really remember right now. Are you actually Titou with us? So can you share some details on that?
It was all good. Just now I went for boats early on, so I didn't need to go on land because Magic was going full on sea, and I knew they would do the Prometheans attack, so I didn't have to commit as much on the main island, and I didn't have to until like a few minutes before the end. So it wasn't needed, so I didn't have to.
Well, that was definitely pretty well gauged, because even through that, it looked like that they had pretty good trading in the early game because of basically missing army from you. So they were raiding, stopping the TCs in there, for example, for count. That was pretty nice trap right there, with the double flanks from Fox. That was very nicely played.
The initial plan for us was I had my Wadjet and animals in the transport ship, and I would use it to counter the Prometheans, like drop Wadjet in coast, attack with Promethean. When Prometheans comes, I would put Wadjet inside the transport ship, run, and then go back in. But they delayed it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this opportunity to actually land my Wadjet inside of one of the Uranus base. And unfortunately for Shelty, his gold mine and wood were really close. So with one Wadjet, he had like 10 idle villagers inside of his base.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that Scraps might have potentially shifted onto a bit more into the middle TC. The one in the middle of the map could have bought them a bit more extra time, but overall, yeah, I think it basically shows that you had a bit more experience from RTS League playing this map, because I don't really remember the other team having all that many chances to play. You are usually all the way through, so you are even playing the same maps in the semifinals and finals. So
We didn't lose a single game in this tournament, right?
No, we didn't.
Did we lose any games in RTS-L?
Yeah, we lost one game when we let Hellenic play versus Unfortunate Ways. It was versus Thomas Shelby and Hero.
Yeah, triple lot.
That guys. That's the only game we lost.
Well, when we're talking about actually the whole tournament, is there some kind of special moment or special match that you actually remember the most out of the 4 rounds that you actually played? For example, let's start with Titou. He hasn't spoken all that much.
Um, I don't know. No, I really don't. I think the last 2 series were the most interesting for us because they were like the most challenging. But I don't think I have a specific moment really.
Yeah, just an easy tournament, no loss, everything win.
Easy.
Yeah, well, the best team player besides all the GSS guys is TSM player, and with him on our team this time, it's like, well, yeah, you can fill it in.
We are like a tank. We walk over everyone.
All right, so right now, what should we really talk about in here? Because we have probably talked about all the important stuff from the finals. Because basically all 3 maps were having one important moment in there. That we basically
For the third place, who do you guys think is gonna win? For the third place, for the first position.
I don't even know the teams.
Chemo is team. It's the team we played for last series.
Yeah, we played against them.
With Edifang and Torgil versus Matello, Golden Lion,
Kill, and Witchy.
Yeah, Green Slash, whatever.
Yeah,
who's gonna win that series? Who's gonna win that series? Blackadder, let's start with you. Who's gonna win that?
Who's gonna win that? I'm really betting on other players. They were seeded as a second because of their skill in team games, because they usually are winning due to basically some team strategy and such.
Lame, you mean?
Because individually they aren't really all that strong in 1v1s. Even they're not bad, but they really shine in team games a lot more. It was even shown in RTS League when they won with TBL, for example, against basically the full lineup of other teams. So they do have the experience in there, and they are, of course, skilled with playing Hades and Zeus, which of course helps in maps like Black Sea.
Yeah, but Edifang, he's like the main carry of the other team, right? I actually think he can carry the series. I believe in him.
I would definitely like him to use Poseidon. That would be something that isn't used like at all in team games. And I would like, for example, for somebody to use the upgrades from Aphrodite into better villagers and make use of that, because I can never see anybody use it, which I think is a bit of a shame. And I'm kind of thinking that I might be trying to try it in some games, even though I don't play, because I see that there could be some potential for really fun strat with Poseidon. But yeah, to close it up, I would be expecting that Arafa with either Poseidon or with Zeus should be really important, because he is really good in team games, as you say.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, now looking at the chat, if there's something that actually the viewers would be wanting to ask. So if you have something to talk about, go ahead.
Yeah, if they have questions, they can ask.
Until then, Blackadder, what is the next tournament gonna be? Another team game tournament? Because those are the best, for sure.
Well, RTS League is going to be starting again, of course, in like, I don't know, sign-ups might be starting in like 2-3 weeks, some such. We are also aiming to be starting AOC Clan League a bit sooner.
Okay, so nice.
We're going to be making that. And as for other tournaments, so far there isn't anything set as far as I know, but there are some talks about 1v1 or 2v2 tournament. So there might be something like that happening. So we should be basically covered on all of that in the community.
Okay, awesome.
Well, so asking in the chat about the questions, and is there something? Asking if Mista wants to do $60 match with Magic.
Rolocue says that he will host a rematch, so much 3v3. How much money are we talking about? If we do like winner gets $150, we can play, I guess. You guys want to play for $150?
I need to go eat though.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You can eat the dollars after the games.
Yeah, well, Titou, I can play one game more, so I can play the first and you the rest of the series. That's possible too.
Or we can just go and eat the dollars that we already won.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy 10 heroes.
Yeah, how much did we actually won?
I don't know.
Right now I have to look. I think it's like
240.
240. Yeah.
Nice. I can get a lot of heroes with that money.
So it's going to be, of course, up to you to divide it amongst yourselves. So, yeah, tear yourselves to pieces over it. That's not going to be my problem.
Okay, but I think Titou is gonna receive the money. After all, he's the the captain of the team.
It's bread.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out after everything is set. Yet again, as you said, there is still the bronze match to actually finish, and also the finals of the Bad Luck Bracket. That's going to be basically a lot fight between last-minute arrivals. That's Matreus with Tom Pix and Igo Heimdall and Chrono JJ, and they will be facing against some lads. So that's Thomas Shelby with Hero OP and Miracle Man.
For me, the funniest moment in this tournament was Titou handing me to practice with them.
Well, it's true, the hardest part of any tournaments, I mean, at least this one and last RTS-S are scheduling. Like, surprisingly, it's easier than the games themselves. So.
Yeah, my personal highlight was TheMista showing up in time for the first time in his entire HG career. He never showed up in time, but this was the first time.
Yeah, I was like super surprised when I saw you basically everyone like half an hour ago before the match in the game lobby, so it was really surprising to me as well. But definitely great, because that's exactly how it should be, and not really waiting 40 minutes to start the match, as it seems to be kind of the standard waiting time lately, unfortunately, and we'll be doing something about it in RTS League. So yeah.
Nice.
And there is, in the game room at least, somebody begging TheMista to come back to streaming. So do you have actually some plans like that, TheMista, to stream again?
In exactly less than a month, my farming season starts. So I guess maybe in August.
Okay.
Yeah, see you guys in 6 months. I will be streaming in 6 months, I promise.
Okay, so that's the answer in there. Not sure if it was exactly what he hoped for, but it's an answer nonetheless. What is actually the crop that you're going to be right now having this year?
What?
Are you what kind of crop are you going to be, or is it raising not? That's for animals.
Corn and cotton.
Oh.
And some wheat. Wheat, not weed. Wheat.
All right. So that's, if somebody needs corn or cotton, you definitely know who to contact in the community.
I right now I have 480 tons of corn inside my warehouses. So if any of you needs corn, I have plenty to give.
Don't forget to upgrade irrigation.
Yeah, I always upgrade. Flood control, dude, not irrigations. I'm not a fucking noob.
Yeah,
I'm a fucking expert. I get flood control. And I also hack the system, and while playing Zeus, I get Flood of the Nile.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, so looking that nobody is really asking anything all that much, I'm just gonna go see if maybe somebody else from the game wants to join, but doesn't really seem so. Player seems to be still AFK, unfortunately. So we really cannot ask him about his water threat on the Black Sea. And that's a pretty good question right now for Hero OP. What were your actually thoughts before you started the series? What you were expecting from the opponents to actually play against you? Or if you thought it's going to be a tough match, so for example, I don't know, TheMista likes to talk a lot.
Well, before all 3 games, we knew what their strategy was going to be, except the game 2, where they kind of surprised us with the pressure on water. But we adapted pretty well.
Yeah, we knew they were gonna play Black Sea, and I actually still don't know why they picked Vinland Saga. Tito played a lot on that map. I played also a lot on that map. TheMista played some games on the map. Bert played some games on the map. So we were all familiar with the map. We all knew what to do. So I'm not really sure why they didn't go for some more Egyptian-focused map like Midgard or something like that. That would have been better in my opinion for them.
Okay, just now, interesting question. Also, what was your second planned home map?
Actually, we didn't have one.
Yeah. We only had one. I guess we knew
No,
that.
we had a potential one, but
Which one? What's the potential
Tundra,
one?
I think
Tundra.
it was. But
Okay.
yeah, sadly we never get to the fourth map. I don't know why.
Who was gonna play on the fourth map?
I don't know. I was begging them to not play game 3, but they forced me into game 3. I didn't want to play. I told them, okay, guys, I'm stepping out. And then suddenly, while T2 comes and says,
No,
Ed
I
says
said
that would
I said I
you
refused,
better to do
and unless they picked Vinland Saga, and they did. But then Earth wanted you to play, so you had to.
Yeah, Eric didn't want to play the game, so
It was the only map I would have let you not play.
Yeah.
Well, Tundra definitely makes a whole lot of sense, especially based on the semifinals, where the Scraps lost twice on it. So I'm kind of thinking that might be the reason why you Titu actually went for it, or rather planned to go for it.
Did they lose twice in the semifinals?
Yeah, the Scraps lost twice, actually. That
Yeah.
was the reason why they had to play the decider, 2 in a row, 2 Tundras in a row.
Okay.
So that was definitely a pretty great choice in there, and well, yep, right now as we are on the delay, of course, we are seeing the questions repeated in the chat, but there was something else interesting. For example, for TheMista, or how many days in a row can you sleep just 3 hours? That's from Hero OP, no, that's from Trulock, I think.
3 months in summer.
Okay, so 3 months in summer, well, that's pretty
But
good
I'm
longevity.
sleeping 12 hours in winter, so I'm preparing like a bear.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, just like a bear. Yeah, there seems to be really some kind of talk about show match. So I'm not exactly sure if somebody even contacted you
They're
guys
asking
about it.
if we're gonna do the show match against them,
And
but I don't know.
what show match
Count
should
that.
it actually be? Like a replay of the Vinland Saga or like best of
I don't
5?
know, no, like a best of 5.
Yeah, I cannot play. I have to get up in like
Yeah.
8 hours from now.
And the money is also really low, I guess, like $80 for 4 players, 5 players actually.
Alright, so I guess we have pretty much talked
Maybe
about...
maybe
Oh,
player
yeah.
can play the show match. Oh, no, sorry, Black Arrow, we were talking about show match.
Yeah.
Show match. Maybe player can play it, but he seems to be FK. Not sure about Earths, and I think T2 can make it after his dinner.
We will see. We need to give it some time, but I don't know.
Well, as I said, we have talked about pretty much everything, so I guess I might just release you and congratulate you yet again for winning the tournament Frozen Times, hosted by Frost Donuts and RTS-Sanctuary, and netting the 240 euros. It's not really dollars, it's euros, so it's slightly better.
Oh, it's even better.
In there. So, yeah, congratulations to all of you guys. Thank you for being with me in here for the talk.
Sure.
And
Thank you.
I guess if you have some final thoughts, share them. Otherwise, you're going to be calling it a night.
Yep. No, nothing. Thank you for hosting the tournament, and I'm looking forward to the next RTS-L.
Me too. I like team games, even though I suck at them. I hate team games. I'm not a team player.
Well, but you're having pretty good successes with them.
Because I have the best teammates, that's why.
That's true.
That might be part of the reason, most definitely. Alright guys, so thank you very much, and see you in another tournament, I guess.
Yes, see you.
Hey, thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Another belt for us, another champion belt. It's getting too heavy here. It's getting too heavy.
You will need to
Too many
buy another
belts.
shelf for all the prizes. Alright, so that's that for the interview with the players in here. So I guess that's going to be about it for basically the whole final stream right now today. So I definitely hope that everyone enjoyed the games. You have seen quite a lot of viewers, like about 179 was the most that I have actually seen. And hope that you enjoyed even the commentary. Of course, you can find links below the stream to other things like YouTube and whatever. So follow here on the channel for more streams, but otherwise don't forget about the other streamers that were helping this tournament. And even though this is not really the last match, we are still having bronze match to be played and the finals of the Bad Luck Bracket. Follow also the other streamers that help us with the casting, like Miracleman77 or Tobida Best, who was also casting some games, Metalo, who was helping in the previous rounds, and of course Raudus, and mustn't forget about Thomas Shelby, Thomas_Shelby, who has cast about 4 matches if I remember correctly, and all of these guys have been pretty big help in the streaming. I don't really think I'll be streaming the last 2 matches of the tournament. That's probably going to be up to the other streamers to give them a bit more exposure in the community. And in the meantime, of course, I'm going to be reminding everybody that this tournament has been hosted by RTS-Sanctuary and Frost Dornets, but RTS-Sanctuary.com is the best place for anything Age of Mythology, like recorded games, tournaments, community, experts to actually help you with their gameplay. So definitely give it a go. And then, of course, there is Age of Mythology Heaven for any scenarios and mods, and Reddit/Age of Mythology. And these games have been played on Woobly, the best place for Age of Mythology and Age of Empires multiplayer, and using Woobly Balance Patch 2.0. That is doing a pretty great job with the maps, especially making them more fair and interesting to play on. So right now I just might even want to join up with my teammate forecasting for the very last seconds. I'm just going to ask him if he has some kind of input. As he wasn't really joining me before, as he was a bit into the dropping into game room in there, so I kind of forgot about him, so sorry about that, 7up. That's not really cool for me. So hey, so what did you think about the whole tournament? Do you have something to add at the very end?
They were interesting games. It was a fun tournament. A little bit sad to see Magic's team, Shelty's team, go out without winning a game, but that's sometimes how it goes. I mean, like Count said, they had the defending RTSL champions, TSS, plus the best team game player, TSM player. They stacked their team, and it would have been cool to see Magic come up with a few wins or interesting strategies from Shelty and them, but just didn't fold out that way. And hopefully the next time they meet, they can take some games off of them.
Yeah, it really seemed like that JSS actually exactly knew what their opponents are going to do, and it really showed.
They just have way more experience, and in the moment, in the pressure. I mean, after the first game, the momentum shifted like big time. JSS were confident, and they just won the next 2 games pretty easily.
Yeah, definitely the experience came through, and that's exactly why team games are a whole lot more about actual preparation and knowing how to play in team with your teammates rather than a random 1v1s joining together. But still, I think they did prepare quite well, the scrubs, and they made the game pretty difficult for their opponents. But this time it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough even in RTS League, it has to be said. This is very close to a rematch, as basically all the players from the scrubs were facing a JSS at some point in basically the playoffs even in there. So yep, that's pretty much it for the tournament. So I thank you for joining me for just one game. Unfortunately, we just got this. This game was supposed to be Tundra, so you would have been able to talk with me about the game again. So next time.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me, and thanks for watching, guys.
And yep, I have been Blackadder at Blackadder's place with 7up and the finals of the Frozen Times tournament. And see you later.